movie adaptations of books sometimes have the tendency to disappoint fans. Certain things, don't make it to the film. Character choices might be different. Minor details are cut, etc. Yet sometimes a movie adaptation tends to be incredibly well made because sometimes a book tends to be unfilmable. But if the adaptation is done right, then it's definitely possible. I mean, look at Lord of the Rings and It. Many people claim these books to be unfilmable because of how much is offered in the story. I mean, I know in the It book, there's like something about a sea, space, turtle. I don't know. I didn't read the book. When it was announced Ava DuVernay was going to helm a film adaptation of A Wrinkle in Time, I was pretty excited to hear this news. I had a feeling she would make something for Disney eventually because I remember she was asked to direct Black Panther before Ryan Coogler was asked. So it seems like this is her moment to shine when it comes to making a big budget movie. I'm a fan of DuVernay. I like Selma a lot. 13th is a great documentary. I was pretty excited. And fun fact, DuVernay is the first black female director to ever helm a movie with a budget over $100 million. And that's pretty awesome. At least I think it is. In fact, she and Coogler are the first two black directors who filmed with over $100 million, and both of their films were in the top 2 places in the box office. That's never happened before. Anyway, I read A Wrinkle in Time like twice when I was in maybe 4th and 6th grade. But it's been so long that it's pretty much like I never actually read the book. So when I was doing research on the book, I was thinking, wow, this book is pretty unfilmable. Because of all of these dimensions involved with the weird characters, and there were themes of Christianity, kind of like, the Chronicles of Narnia. But I mean, look at these book covers, okay? Doesn't that just seem like it might be difficult to translate to the screen? It looks like a Pink Floyd album cover, to me at least. And I guess technically, you can get a visual idea of what's happening. Heck, there's even a graphic novel, so that in some way you can get a visual idea of what's happening. And I guess technically it is filmable, since there has been a TV movie, but it's certainly hard to successfully accomplish this. At least I think so. Alright, now that I got all of that out of the way, let me actually tell you the story without giving too much away. So, Storm Reid plays Meg, who doesn't have the best life. She gets bullied in school, and her father, played by Chris Pine, has been missing for 4 years. So these 3 beings from another dimension, they help Meg, her brother, and her friend to find her father somewhere in another dimension, and a lot happens. And I'm not gonna make a joke where, Kimmel and some Hollywood stars came in the middle of the screening, because I already did that on Twitter. So one of the bigger aspects I was looking forward to was the visuals and special effects, partly because of these other dimensions. I was curious how creatively they would look. And we may not see these dimensions in the first 10 minutes, but on the Earth setting, we get an idea of how visual things might be because, there are some medium shots that are very well placed and symmetrical to make it appealing, but the subpar pop songs kind of take that effect away and it looks like a music video. And by the way, just a side note, a lot of these pop songs do not fit the tone of what's happening in the movie. And I think it's been used like 3 or 4 times in the movie and it's incredibly out of place. I just wish the pop songs were done a little differently. Or hey, even just cut the pop songs. Use the score, make it more effective. It's not until we're about maybe 15 to 20 minutes in until we see the real visuals that people were waiting for. There are times where the visual effects are pretty to look at, but then there are also times where it's obvious that there's a green screen or the effects don't feel as fleshed out as other effects. The movie tries to be a visual type of movie. The last good example I could think of is Doctor Strange tries to be that type of movie. A Wrinkle in Time tries to be like that, thinking it's something we've never seen before, and I guess that's right, because technically I guess we haven't seen something like this, but it's not really that impressive. And these children don't react how anybody would react in these situations. And this is one of my bigger problems in the movie. I mean, when you travel from one dimension to another, don't you think you would be freaking out? I know I would. I would certainly be screaming if I got into like the 4th dimension or something. Or, if you see an Oprah behemoth monster, you'd probably be screaming. But no, these kids just accept whatever is thrown at them. And these children actors are not that great. And I'm probably gonna sound harsh, and I apologize, but honestly, it can be forgivable for children actors to be okay at performances. But when you have Ava DuVernay as your director, and the movie heavily uses these kids, then I would expect a bit more from them. Reid is fine. It's more of the emotional scenes where she shines. Levi Miller, who plays Calvin, which is Meg's friend, he doesn't add anything to the story. I'm aware he's a part of the story in the book, but he literally doesn't do anything in this movie other than stare. Now, the character Charles Wallace, who's played by Deric McCabe, he's an important part of the story. I know that. Unfortunately, McCabe's performance is rough to sit through. He overacts to almost everything he says, and there are some extreme close-ups that make it a little too uncomfortable to look at. It didn't work for me. The three Mrs., who are played by Oprah, Mindy, Kaling, and Reese Witherspoon, are fine as well, even though they aren't given much. Witherspoon plays Mrs. Whatsit, who is the most interesting out of the three because she has the biggest personality. Oprah plays Mrs. Witch, who is only used for exposition. Then you have Kaling, who plays Mrs. Who, and she's barely used in the movie. Her character only speaks through quotes of geniuses, so like, she'll quote Mark Twain or Albert Einstein or people like that, people who definitely influenced society. And I think it's an original way to get the point across, but her character is used so little that it seemed like she didn't matter to this story at all. Again, I don't remember if she was used so little in the book. She might have been used a lot in the book. This is just what I thought of the movie. And as for Zach Galifianakis and Michael Peña, they were also pretty much a waste. They're important to the story, I know that, and I'm aware of that, especially Peña. But the movie doesn't really give them time to shine. As soon as Peña showed up, I was really excited to see what he would do, and I was enjoying his performance. I thought it was very humble, and then he was pretty much gone. He was only on the screen for like 3 minutes. I was like, oh, alright, well, bye. Almost none of these bonds between the six of them don't feel genuine. I guess the best character relationships I saw were between, Meg and Charles Wallace and their father. I thought those three were interesting, especially towards the end. It just doesn't feel genuine to me. And I think part of it is because these children just accept what's going on. And we don't get real reactions from anybody. It's frustrating. And because of this, we just, as an audience, have to accept what's happening without the movie giving any time to explain what's happening. The first and third act focuses a bit more on the emotional aspect of the movie, and that is where I found the movie to be more intriguing. It was when the movie actually focused on these characters and their relationships and their personal dilemmas, rather than in the second act where it's just a jumbled mess. The second act is more of sequences trying to wow the audience with its visual effects, and it barely mentions about the theme of the movie. When the movie finally brings up the theme of darkness is everywhere and how the movie visually explains this, I was thinking, oh wow, what a unique theme, and I believe kids can get into this. And hopefully they can get into the theme of, hatred and sadness are everywhere, and kindness and love has the ability to stop it. But it's kind of muddled, so it's a little hard to get a clear message. This movie has the domino effect of hurting its chances of being a good movie. While its sort of clear message about kindness and love may be inspirational to kids and other people, its sloppy storytelling makes it hard to sit through, partly because the movie doesn't give time to explain certain things and the settings. The movie doesn't give us time to explain things because these children's reactions aren't how people should react. And because of that, it makes elements of the children's performances not that great. At times, it's visually impressive to watch, but then there are also times where it's visually hard to sit through. The pop music ruins some of these scenes because it's out of place and it makes the scene feel like a music video. It's when the movie gets into the emotional and personal stuff that makes it provocative. I wish I had much more focus on this. I gotta give props to DuVernay though for being able to direct an adaptation of what I believe is an unfilmable book. I'm still interested to see what DuVernay does next. And who knows, maybe in like 30, 40 years, some studio will get another shot at making this adaptation. I mean, it's happened before. Look at Lord of the Rings and It. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.8 out of 10. Yep. All right.